귀국한 이후에 우리나라 참여를 바다로 들어서야 되는데 해양 생태학을 연구하면서 특히 최근에 인하대학교로 옮겨서 황해 쪽에 있는 그 연안습지의 생태학에 대해서 하고 있습니다. 그 다음에 우선 오늘 여러분이 아시겠지만은 main objective of our common workshop is to convince the importance, added value of MPA managers networks that enables discussions, partnerships, common initiatives between MPA managers, decision makers, private sector, civil society, etc. And second is to contribute to regional sea governance today in the Mediterranean Sea and Yellow Sea. Last is to have the recognition of MPA networking activities. 이런 정도로 오늘의 그 목표를 간단히 말씀드리고 간단하게 스케줄을 말씀드리도록 하겠습니다. 우선 진행 순서가요. 간단하게 맨 처음 웰커밍 어드레스를 코리안 내셔널 파크 서비스의 executive 디렉터로 있는 박영덕 씨로부터 이제 웰커밍 어드레스를 듣고 그 다음에 이제 세 분의 그 프레젠테이션 발표가 있습니다. 첫 번째 지중해 관련, 두 번째 황해 관련이고요. 세 번째는 그 Regional Sea Governance 그 마더에 대해 가지고 이제 얘기가 있고, 그 다음에 이제 연이어서 패널 디스커션이 3시 25분부터 4시까지 이제 있겠고, 이 부분은 닥터 프랑스와 숨나가 이제 마더레이터로서 이제 진행을 하도록 하겠습니다. 그러면 우선 오늘 그 발표를 해주실 분의 간단한 그 양력을 소개해 드리도록 하겠습니다. 여기 그 영문으로 되어 있기 때문에 이 부분을 그냥 간단하게 읽는 것으로 대신하도록 하겠습니다. 첫 번째 그 마리아 퓨리피카시오 카나레스. Correct? Yes. Born and raised in Tarragona, Spain. Puri Canales has a PhD in biochemistry and physiology from the University of Barcelona. She has been appointed at a large number of environmental bodies, and since 2000, she served at IUCN's Council for 8 years as a regional counselor for West Europe, and also as vice president from 2005 to 2008. Regarding the Mediterranean region, Puri was directly involved in promoting the creation of the IUCN Center for Mediterranean Cooperation based in Malaga, and she worked with IUCN Mediterranean members for more than 10 years. She's a member of the Scientific Council of the Conservation Conservatoire Littoral in French. The World Commission on Protected Areas of IUCN and Eurosite Council since 2010. She is the president of the MEDPAC organization, the network of marine protected areas managers in the Mediterranean. Second speaker will be Dr. Jong-gil Choi of the Korea Environmental Education Network. Dr. Jong-gil Choi, who was before Korea Ocean Research and Development Institute for 20 years, since 1984. Now is the director of the City and Nature Institute and the chair of the Korean Environmental Education Network and Ecotourism Korea. He gained master in animal taxonomy and particularly aquatic taxonomy, and a PhD in marine ecology respectively. He was once a member of the Korean National Assembly during 2004 to 2008. His main interest is marine conservation, especially marine protected area, environmental education, and ecotourism. Last speaker will be Dr. Ilfeld Oral. She is from Istanbul Bilgi University, actually a specialist on law of the sea, and now actually IUCN Commission on Environmental Law and co-chair of the Oceans, Coast and Coral Reefs Specialist Group. Okay. And now we are going to have a welcoming address by the Korea National Park Service. Mr. Park Young-duk, please.
가을의 문덕에 접어든 이때 천의 수려한 자연 경관을 간직하고 있는 제주도를 방문하신 여러분을 진심으로 환영합니다. 그리고 이번 지역해 보존에 관한 국제 워크숍을 준비하기 위해 노력해 주신 지중해 해양보호적 관리자 네트워크, IUCN 환경법위원회의 지구해양 프로그램, 한국환경교육 네트워크, 한국해양학회, 그리고 국내 전문가 분들에게 진심으로 감사드립니다. 해양은 이제까지 우리 인류가 살아가기 위한 식량을 제공하고 사람들의 삶의 기반이 되어 왔으며 날씨와 기후를 형성하고 조절하는 핵심 기능을 수행하여 왔습니다. 이에 따라 우리들은 해양의 보존과 지속 가능한 이용을 위해 지속 가능한 세계 정상회의, G8 국가들의 에비앙 협약 협정, 생물 다양성 협약, 제5회 세계 공원대회 등에서 국제적 합의를 이끌어내려고 노력하여 왔습니다. 황해와 지중해는 생물 다양성이 풍부하며 독특한 생태적 고유성을 가지고 있는 지역이며 그리고 무역 등 인간 활동의 주요 대상지가 되어 왔습니다. 특히 황해의 갯벌은 세계 5대 갯벌 가운데 하나로 높은 생물 다양성, 철새, 바다새, 해양생물의 서식처 제공, 육상에서 발생하는 오염물질 완충 역할 등 다양한 역할을 수행하고 있습니다. 그러나 이 두 지역해는 증가하고 있는 육상 및 해상에서의 인간 활동으로 인하여 환경오염, 과도한 생물자원 채취, 기후변화 등 다양한 형태의 위협에 노출되어 왔습니다. 지역해는 그 특성상 단일 국가 및 기관에 의한 관리가 불가능하며 관련 기관, 국가, NGO, 지역 주민과 지식 및 경험을 공유하고 협력하는 것이 필요합니다. 이번 워크숍에서는 황해 및 지중해의 지역해 보존 노력에 대한 성과와 경험을 공유하고 향후 전 세계 지역해 보존을 위한 방향을 논의하고자 합니다. 이 워크숍에서 논의되는 귀중한 경험과 지식들은 현재 지역해 보존을 위해 노력하고 있는 국내외 관계자들에게 훌륭한 지침과 방향을 제공할 수 있을 것이라고 생각합니다. 마지막으로 본 워크숍을 통하여 다시 한번 전 세계 지역해 보존의 중요성이 환기되고 지역해 내 행정 네트워크, 사회 네트워크, 생태 네트워크가 합쳐진 통합적 시스템이 강화되는 기회가 되기를 간절히 바랍니다. 다시 한번 본 워크숍에 참석하여 주신 국내외 전문가 여러분을 환영하며 행사 준비에 힘쓰신 관계자 여러분들께도 깊은 감사를 드립니다. 감사합니다.
한국의 국립공원관리원 이사가 되시는 축사가 있었습니다. 바로 첫 번째 발표 순서는 15분 정도 제안해 주시고 MPA 네트워크 in the Mediterranean
The one of that one? Who? This one. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good morning, everybody. So first of all, thanks to all the organizations that made possible to organize this workshop today. It's a pleasure for me to be working with all of you and discussing such an interesting issue as the marine protection in the regional seas. So there's a lot of things that I could tell you about what's happening in the Mediterranean, but I decided to focus on the experience of the network that I chair, which is the Mediterranean Network of Marine Protected Areas, MedPAN. It doesn't mean that there are not more things. Obviously, there's a lot, and it's very interesting, but it's difficult in 10 minutes, so I will just focus on that. So, first of all, and as I'm the first speaker, I think it's interesting, especially for those of you that are not Mediterranean, just to give you some feedback about why the Mediterranean is important in terms of biodiversity. So, it is interesting to see that it hosts 80% of the described marine species, despite we are talking just about 1% of the global ocean, so that means that our diversity is really high. 28% of the marine fauna is endemic from the Mediterranean Sea. 60% of the flora species is also endemic of the Mediterranean Sea. And not just on the small species, also big ones are present, such as 15 cetacean species are present in the region. And it's very important for the breeding of species, very important commercial species such as the Atlantic bluefin tuna or several species of sharks and dolphins. But in parallel to this biological importance, the Mediterranean is important for socio-economical reasons, and these socio-economical aspects are unfortunately very linked with the main threats that the region has. So we could talk about the maritime routes, including substantial oil traffic. We can talk about tourism, unfortunately not always sustainable, and also related to the fishing activities. The stocks of fish are being reduced a lot during the last years due to this activity. But we are also a very critical zone regarding the climate change effects on the seas, and as well as pollution in terms of eutrophication, toxic chemicals, etc. So we have both elements, high biodiversity and a lot of threats in our region. When we talk about the protection in terms of marine protected areas, we are talking about activities in 21 countries and around 200 marine protected areas, plus 500 included in the European Network Natura 2000, which is a parallel and a complementary system of protection for those that are not European. And it's also very interesting because probably in the near future this is one of the main ways in which we can increase a substantial part of protection in the coasts and in the seas in the European part of the Mediterranean. But I just will call your attention, if you look at the map, you can see some of the realities. And the first one is that if you look at the distribution of the marine protected areas in the Mediterranean, it's obvious that it's not equally balanced. There is a big difference between the north, and maybe the European countries, and the south and the east. So that means that some of the challenges related to marine protected areas are just how to increase and how to have a more well-balanced system of protected areas in the Mediterranean. The other element you can realize looking at the map is that we are talking mainly about coastal marine protected areas, but not high seas. There is only one exception. This is this white area that is called the Pelagos Sanctuary. This is a huge area for the protection of the cetaceans, but exclusively focusing on cetaceans, not over marine protection. So that means that the challenge for the protection of high seas is really there on the Mediterranean. So this is the reality. And but at the same time, if we look at what it means to have marine protected areas, we can see that marine protected areas are very useful for many different reasons. So first of all, are important to protect extraordinary features, but also to promote management of marine resources, to enhance public awareness of the marine environment and provide opportunities for applied education, to monitor environmental integrity and change and provide representative areas where to undertake research, to bring alternative income to local stakeholders and contribute to sustainable development, and to bring indirect economic benefits at the national level. If we look at this list of benefits, it seems ridiculous to have the previous map in such a small surface protected, because that means that, in fact, marine protected areas are important for people. But unfortunately, people and decision makers not always understand that. So this is also part of our role as a network of managers for marine protected areas and as conservationists to explain about these details when we talk about marine conservation. So if we look at the Mediterranean, despite we have very few protected areas regarding the heat surface, and there is also a big distance in the quality of the protection, because often marine protected areas have not enough management plans, not enough management resources. But despite that, we have also some examples of success stories, the ones that the group focus now, because I think it's important to provide good examples in order to promote the improvement of the network of marine protected areas. For instance, we have examples of good collaboration between managers of marine protected areas and traditional fishermen. This will be the case of the marine protected area of Torre Guaceto in Italy. There is a long tradition of working together. Obviously, they start from being opposing each one, but after different efforts from both sides, now they are working together, and the results in this collaboration are really, really interesting. And I must tell you that in the context of MEPAN, we are also working, trying to promote joining forces from traditional fishermen and marine protected areas managers. This is one of our objectives, because in fact, traditional fishery is something that can be very often very compatible with the management of protected areas, but we need to work together and to try to really find ways to do it. We have also some interesting examples of sustainable tourism management. For instance, in the National Park of Port-Royal, which is this is based in France, they developed a diving charter, which aim is to help the divers to have an appropriate behavior when they dive and they visit the waters in the protected area of the national park. And this has been very, very positive, because it reduces a lot the impact of this activity, and it is, that means that we can have in divers some a group of people that really supports marine conservation and reduces the impact during the development of the activity. Also, in environmental education, as I said previously, marine protected areas are important for raising awareness. And in this general approach of raising awareness, environmental education is a specific area in which we can find very, very good examples in the marine protected area of Miramare, which is managed by WWF Italy. And they have been working for a long time implementing environmental education programs with people from different ages, and the results are really, really successful. But also, financing marine protected areas, that is one of the key issues. We can find some good examples, and probably the most successful is the case of the National Park of Cinque Terre in Italy, that they develop a complex complexity of the different elements that are focusing in providing a good financing financing to the protected area, and includes the hotels, includes local products, includes a lot of different issues that makes this national park one of the best examples in the Mediterranean, trying to produce this self-financing mechanism. And this is a protected area that mainly it's both terrestrial, but it's the marine side, the one that is more interesting for us. We have other examples, for instance, also in the National Park of Port-Royal, regarding the monitoring process, especially using this protected area as an observatory for the biodiversity and human users, which is very, very interesting also, because if we don't make a good monitoring on these processes, we cannot know exactly what is the impact, and we cannot know how to solve it. So this is a place in which both elements together have been regarded for a long time, and they develop methodologies that can be also applied in other very protected areas. Another good example would be the designation of the street of Bonifacio. That is just the area that separates Corsica and Sardinia, two of the main islands in the Mediterranean. And this designation helped to accept this area as a particularly sensitive area. This is an area with a high traffic of boats, and now it's regarded with a sensitive area that this helps that the impact of this traffic is reduced. Or this is another interesting example. The research project in the Pelago Santuari that I indicated previously in the map is a software system that is focusing in reducing the risk of collision